community specifically?
Jomoro.
Jomoro. Fantastic.
The
So you
petroleum
speak.
hub.
So you speak in Zima proper.
I speak in Zima.
Proper Zima.
Well, I do my best.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the Morning Star.
My pleasure.
I trust you are well and healthy, correct?
Come again.
I trust you are well and healthy, correct?
Oh, yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
How's business too?
Well, comme si comme ça, some people will say. We have survived the COVID, and we've started making figures close to what we were pre-COVID. Okay. The challenge has been the operational costs, which seems to be wiping our profit margins. That is the challenge. But the patronage is going very well. We are having the guests, we are having the clients, but the cost of operation is becoming unbearable.
What's swelling the operational costs?
A number of them. First of all, the general cost of living is very high.
Yeah.
And we go to the market just as other businesses do. We buy a lot of things from the market. So when the prices of those goods go high, it affects our operations. And then, of course, taxes as well. Taxes there. And then when the standard of living goes high, our staff also request for
pay rises.
Okay, so it's a combination of all of those. And of course, the exchange rates. Some of our hotels, especially the upmarket hotels, import their goods, and it has implications for business as well. The cost of operation is a major issue for us now.
I see. You've mentioned that the patronage in terms of numbers and visits has started picking up to the pre-COVID numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. But what's changed between then and now relative to, based on the COVID experience, how we're offering a bit more value to these guests and these clients who are coming in now?
Well, if you look at the way things have progressed since pre-COVID and now, you can tell some strategic moves by the operators. First of all, there's been the urge for partnership. So you have more tour operators, you have more car rental people cooperating or partnering with the hotels. And then you also have a situation where the domestic tourism has really received a big boost. Before COVID, it was doing well, but not as we are having now. Because COVID made us know and learn that we cannot rely only on international visits. So that marketing started in earnest. And so now we have a lot of people having that domestic experience, which is also helping the industry. And I think also that COVID sort of put us in some kind of prison. So after the COVID, people...
It's a release.
They are released and now they want to also explore. So these are some of the factors that seems to be pushing the industry for it.
This is a bit of general education for us before I ask my very specific question.
Right.
What are the three things that makes a hotel efficient and profitable?
Three things. Okay. One, you need to have the patronage.
It's ready market.
Yeah, market. It's very important. And that's why sometimes location matters, even though for some it may not be an issue so long as you are providing the right service. And that makes me to the second point, customer service.
Yeah.
Customer service is very important. And then you have your cost management. So those three things.
Okay.
So the patronage, the services you provide, the customer services, and your cost management. These are the three major things that
ensure efficiency and profitability for any hotel.
For any hotel.
So,
for any hotel.
I'm sure recently you've heard all the talk about Labadi Beach, Snits, having stakes in some of the hotels, and the matter of profitability and the movement towards selling some of these ones. What's your reading of this?
Right. Let me trade cautiously here. Because as an association, we register the owners of the hotels. We don't really meddle in their internal operations. So we don't care who is the owner of a hotel, so long as You meet the Ghana Tourism Authority's registration process. Then we register you to a company. But putting that aside, you know, when you look at all the hotels that have been mentioned in the whole process, it is obvious that Labadi Beach Hotel has been doing quite well, or very well, in the past few years. When you look at La Palm, it's obvious to all that things are not going that well.
Not just as decent to Labadi
very good,
Beach, yes.
Very good. So then there are some question marks there. And then you go to Elmina Beach Resort.
Yes.
They have big challenge. We had a NEC meeting in October last year, and I was very sad because this massive investment that was made some years past.
It's decaying.
And yes, it's decaying. Okay. So those ones, some points can be made about the need to restructure investment or even bringing others on board. So the issue has been with Labadi. And the unfortunate thing is the political twist. So the only thing I can say is that, you see, when you go into the scriptures, it says that everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
We'll leave it for there for now.
Yeah.
No problem. But generally, for hotels in Ghana now, how many of them, either 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 5-star, what percentage are profitable at this time? Would you say are posting profits, or a majority are bleeding?
Interesting and very difficult question to answer. But let me put it this way. When you look across the various categories, and you see, from my position, I speak for all the hotels.
Yes.
From budget to 1-star to 5-star. Okay.
Yes.
When you look across, you see, there's a certain threshold of operation that guarantees profitability. When you have a certain number of rooms, profitability becomes an issue. And so,
as in, the more it is, the less profitable it is.
No, the more it is, the more profitable.
Okay.
Because you see, the number of or the resources you put into a certain threshold is almost the same as adding, like, say, 10 rooms. You could use quite a same number of staff. Imagine, say, a 20-bedroom hotel and a 10-bedroom hotel. Okay. So the cost of operation will be higher relatively in the smaller one
than the big one.
Exactly. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is, so, you know, the hotel is an interesting business. It comes with all kinds of
ancillary services.
Units. You have the conference and events, banquet and event. You have also the restaurants. You have the bar. You could even do tour operation. You could even do car rental. So the hotels that take advantage of all these aspects of the operation also stand to benefit. Okay. And if you also look carefully, a lot of the hotels who are doing very well are those who are promoting the conference, what we call the MICE, meetings, events, conference, and
because that takes up volume. That takes up a lot of numbers.
Exactly, a lot of numbers. Beyond the accommodation aspect. Okay. So those are the ones who are doing well. Now, when you go beyond that, then the issue about the management itself
also comes in.
And that is where there has been issue about expatriate involvement and local involvement.
Who does better?
Let me be very careful here.
No,
but
you have to tell the truth.
History seems to support the expatriates.
Why?
I don't know. Just as...
Is it that they have long-standing generational knowledge about how to manage these facilities?
Just as there's this funny notion that Ghanaians seem to do far better in other countries. I don't know why. But the same Ghanaians who we employ here, when they go outside, they do so well.
Exceptionally well.
Yes. Is it something to do with the environment? Because the expatriates are also operating in
the same environment.
In the same environment. Is it about what they learn? We learn the same thing. I mean, we can match them boot for boot. But when it comes to performance on the job, then there's always a challenge. But let me also draw your attention to the fact that, you see, the hotel business is a global business.
Yes.
It's a global business. You will have guests from Kyrgyzstan, from Canada, from Australia, from anywhere across the world. So you maintain standards
that are global.
Okay.
Whether budget or 5-star.
Thank you. That's the whole concept of the hotel business. So if you think, or if you push for local management, which only looks at the local operation.
Without a bigger view.
Without a bigger view, you may have to, and probably, I'm not too sure about that. Probably that is the trap that we find ourselves in, that we have managers
who look only
within
and not without.
And then, okay, a few of them who are doing so are doing well, because now our market, like I indicated, is global. So you are looking to market the hotel to the other. Look, if you should do a research now on hotels who are on social media, who are online and all that, you'll be amazed to know that not too many hotels are active
have digital
in
presence.
that space. Yes. Some are doing very well, doing a lot of marketing on, but quite a number of them too, especially my friends in the 2-star downwards.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of them have been stuck in the local operation and are not taking advantage. Because sometimes some tourists come not to experience the luxury in the upmarket hotels, but they prefer the lower market hotels. But they also look for quality. You may be a small hotel providing the basics, but
exceptionally done.
Security is important. The comfort is also important, and then the safety is also very important. Okay, so if we don't meet these standards, then we would have challenges attracting people from other countries, which is what the business is all about.
So, and it's like we're having a crash course this morning, but we might as well have it.
Yeah.
Any hotel, right? If you are to be successful and profitable, yes, you talk about patronage and the numbers. There are those who travel in country and come to your hotel. There are those who locally are here but love to travel. They love to come to these locations, spend a weekend, either with family or bring conferences to you. For any hotel, what should be priority? Going out there and finding people who come to your hotel, or conquer the local market and let the global markets be the topic?
It's a fine blend between the two. Okay, because when it comes to patronage, sometimes it's seasonal, especially when it has to do with the international visits.
Yes.
Okay, sometimes it's seasonal. Okay, I mean, take the December GH for instance. It has become one of the events.
So now two seasons: Christmas, Easter, and then summer. Easter into summer.
Exactly. So if you focus too much on only the international visitors, you'll be in trouble. Because then what about the off season?
Yeah.
Where you need the locals. Okay. So it's a fine blend between the two. Okay, and to ensure that you receive the right patronage the whole year. And that is why we've been pushing for the GTA, for instance.
Ghana Tourism Authority.
Yeah, to spread the festivities. I mean, to look for events throughout the year, not just focus on December and
Christmas and Easter.
And just Kwewu. There are a lot of things that goes on during the year. So we should highlight all of them.
So festivals.
All of them.
Okay.
All of them. So that throughout the year, because you go to certain communities in the hinterlands, and they are basically funeral hotels. Yes.
But it's their specialty.
Well, specialty in the sense that is what
the only time that they get clients.
Exactly. And a few walk-ins here and there.
So they have to pray that somebody dies.
Well,
who's
it's
from
just
the
like
community?
The person who produces the coffee.
There's a chain economy for that.
So if we're able to create these events across the year, then you are sure that every community in a way will have something going throughout the year. And then the hotels or hospitality, let me extend that, the hospitality business will also have something to be doing throughout the year.
I see. Is it an industry that anybody who has a healthy amount of investment or savings can walk into? Or it is for the most daring and entrepreneurs you can ever find?
Francis, let's look at it this way. When it comes to the investment, the important thing is that you have the money. Okay, when it comes to the investment, The important thing is that you have the money to invest. Okay. But when it comes to the operation, that is where you need that right attitude or mindset to provide the right services to your clients. Okay, so it's a combination of both having the money and then the right mindset to operate the business. Because remember, it is part of the hospitality industry. It's about providing great customer service, great customer experience to people so that the repeat visits will be there, and then you also market your business for this. There have been quite a number of cases where hotel operators have not acted very well in terms of customer service, and that has really cost them a lot. Okay, so we need that fine blend between the investment and, to be honest with you, Francis, it's the hotel business sounds like an easy business, but it's very far from that. First of all, it's very expensive, very, very expensive to invest in the business. And then
how expensive? $1 million?
It depends on the type of hotel. I mean,
so budget is how much? 1 star is how much? 2 star is how much?
Well, let me put it this way. Last year we gathered some figures to renovate a facility at my old school, St. Augustine's.
Yes.
At that time, in fact, there are 2 masters blocks. One was done by our seniors, 82-year group, at 500,000 cities. This year we want to do renovate the second one, and guess what? The bill is now by $1 million. Okay, so maybe let me use dollars rather than cities, because I'm sure by
dollars are a bit more stable. Okay, makes sense.
Now, you need not less than, to furnish a room, let's do it room by room. To furnish a room, you need not less than $3,000.
To furnish a room?
Yeah, to furnish.
To maintain it will cost you how much a month?
Well, to maintain it, you look at the staffing, you look at the beddings, you look at the cleaning materials and all that. So you are looking at, per room, you are looking at between $50 and $100
per month.
Per month.
So $3,000 to furnish,
yes,
$100 to maintain.
Yes, and that is just a room.
Yes.
Because then you need a restaurant, you need a car park, you need security, you need the entertainment in the form of the DSTV and all that. Okay, so when you put all these things together, it's very expensive to put up a hotel, and then operating it too is another, and that's where the GNR will come up with all their taxes, and then you have to pay your staff, and then you also have to provide all the different foods that people eat, because like I said, it's a global business, and people come from all backgrounds looking for some dishes to eat, even in Ghana. Okay.
So just so I'm clear, have all the hotels fully recovered from the impact of COVID?
Well, usually when you are talking statistics, you may be referring to most. Okay, so
most of what be 90%?
Well, you see, again, we have to be careful in discussing the recovery, because the recovery in terms of patronage, we are getting the numbers, but the cost of operation is affecting our profit margin so much that it's becoming dicey to even say that people are in their comfort zone now when it comes to hotel operation, and that's the issue you are having to bear with.
All right. That brings me to our conversation for the morning. Yes, you do a lot of work with the hotels,
right,
as president of the Ghana Hotels Association. But you've also shown to us the other side of you that we didn't know.
Right.
Your connection to ministry.
Right.
And to serving God.
Right.
Okay. So are you a pastor?
I'm not.
Okay. So
I'm a Catholic. I worship with the Christ the King Parish Church opposite the Jubilee House.
Yes.
I have an interesting history when it comes to the things of God. I resigned from the university because of that. And I have actually written an autobiography which details
decisions.
Decisions that I took. Okay. So the things of God are dear to my heart, and they feature in a lot of the things I do. So even the leadership of the Ghana Hotels Association at the presidency level was a spiritual prompt that I received. I wouldn't have done that if I had not received that spiritual prompt. Okay, so I work a lot with prompts, spiritual prompts, and I'm guided by it. So I try to do things more like a lay minister. So to speak.
A lay minister.
Yeah, a lay minister. Okay. I counsel a lot of people, and my autobiography to receive a lot of readership, and through that, I used it to also minister to people and to counsel people.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I read your recent piece, and in this piece, you say that in this upcoming elections, does the will of God matter? Why this question? What's been stirring your spirit?
Right, Francis. As a Ghanaian, first of all, and as a spiritual person and a patriot, I love Ghana. Yes, I'm very interested in the things of Ghana. So I started praying about the December 7 elections. Okay, and I noticed that at one particular prayer session, I started receiving the prompt that pray for the will of God to prevail. Pray for the will of God to prevail. That was the prompting that I received during that prayer. Okay, initially I ignored it, but it kept coming. So I decided to give it some attention, to pray about that prompt as well. And I started receiving all kinds of interesting directions and information. Okay, and also to get people or to conscientize people to begin to pray for the will of God to prevail in this particular election. So that is how this whole article started, and I had to put it together. And you know, with the things of God, you don't receive it and then put it under the bed. You receive it and then share it. So I put it together and then shared it, and it's received quite a number of response. And the whole idea is that, you know, this December 7, 2024 elections has a lot of interesting dimensions. Okay. Now, first of all, the NDC and MPP will go into the elections with 16 years governance experience.
Yes.
So that's the first interesting dimension.
That's true. Yeah.
Secondly, we have a former president, Mahama, seeking
re-election.
That's another interesting dimension. And then we have a sitting vice president of the MPP, also being a flag bearer. That's the first time it's happened. And then the both presidential candidates, interestingly, from the two leading parties, MPP and NDC, are from the north. They are both northerners. And then for the first time, we have a Muslim from one of the two major parties standing for president. And then again, this time, I think the two independent candidates are making some inroads, well, in terms of their campaign. Okay, so these are very interesting dimensions of the December 7 elections. So the stakes are quite high. But the question which I asked myself after that prompt was, in exercising our democratic rights in these elections, does the will of God play any role, or will the will of God play any role? And that's what I reflected on for quite some time. In other words, is God interested in who is sworn in as president in 2025, January 2025? Is God interested in the leadership and membership of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic? You know. So pushing further, I came up with these thoughts. Now, first of all, you see, the elected leaders should be those that God wants at this stage of our development. Okay, and we need to pray for His will to be done so that we pick the right leader. Okay. Again, you see, our understanding and political judgments may be limited to our own interests. It may be limited to our own circumstance. But God sees far, 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 far more than our own interests. And which is why we need to pray for the will of God to also come into the picture. Now, again, God knows the hearts of the candidates. I mean, we have about 275 slots for parliament.
Mhm.
Then we have one slot for the president. Okay, and we have various presidential candidates. Only God knows the heart of these presidential candidates.
So this right leader who will let the will of God prevail, what qualities should the person have?
You see, in certain situations, and here I want to, I made a point in a conversation with somebody, and he thought that my choice of words was a bit harsh.
Mm-hmm.
But please excuse me if I should use those words. I mean, when you have quote unquote two evils, quote unquote, okay, and you necessarily have to choose one, what do? You choose the lesser
evil.
Okay, and that's to say that.
Is that where we are?
Well, it is to say that each of the political parties have issues. And I mentioned earlier on that we have had 16 years of each party. You cannot say that one has been totally bad, and you cannot say one has been totally perfect or good. They all have positive sides, they all have negative sides. Okay? They all have something to offer. Right? But in this circumstance we find ourselves, it's only one party that can be president according to our constitution. Okay. So we need to be guided, and that's where my spiritual import comes. We need to be guided to choose the one who would deal with the situation in Ghana now the best. Okay, so it's not our prayer to bring in an angel or somebody from a different planet. We will still have to deal with the leaders that we have here. But which of the leaders, which of the potential leaders will best serve the interest of Ghana at this point in our economic development? That's the whole import of the
So of the two, which is the lesser evil?
Friends, I have no answer to that at all.
So you're saying that
why I am seeking the face of God to guide me in the choice of the leader.
Are you bringing us to the point where you say, pray, ask God for an answer to who will best lead the country in your decision you make this year?
You described it very nicely.
Is that what you're driving us to?
Very nicely. You have described it perfectly. That's the whole import.
That don't use your carnal mind to make a choice.
It is very easy for
rely on the prompting of the Spirit to
That's the
help
import
you
of
choose.
my article. That's the import of my article. Because it is very easy, it is very simplistic for us to use past experience and even a present experience to take decisions. I mean, that's what we do, don't we? We always look at what has happened in the past. We look at what... but you see, when you enter into the spiritual realm, it opens up your mind to a lot of things, a lot of considerations, a lot of aspects of your decisions which you may have not considered.
Yes.
And so this call is actually for people to maybe reflect deeper into the decisions that they'll be making on December 7th, guided by the spiritual prompts. Okay, so that you can make that decision which will push Ghana to the next level. As for which way to go, Francis, if you ask me 1,000 times, the answer will be the same. I don't know. And I do not stand for any political party. My interest is in Ghana, for God and country. And my interest is for people to go beyond just the physical, beyond just their circumstances, to think deeply, pray to God. Because, see, Francis, I think we are getting to a point where people are beginning to feel or think or sense that God is not interested in the affairs of the country, or God couldn't be bothered. The only thing is that scriptures will teach you carefully that you need to call on God to intervene. You don't assume that God is there, so He will deal with the situation.
Things happen.
Exactly, and that's another
where we
aspect
are
of the
now.
call. Yes, we need to consciously, deliberately call on God to intervene in the situation, and He will intervene by opening our mind to understand the issues at stake, and therefore take the right decision.
We also know that by their fruits we shall know them.
Yeah.
The good book says that as well.
Good.
So do we look at the fruits of those who are asking for this mandate to decide?
And Francis, it takes me back to the question you asked earlier, because you're asking in a different way. When you look at the fruits, I'm telling you that the fruits of any person seeking political position, whether the presidential or parliamentary, cannot be perfect. You cannot have it perfect. After all, we are all human beings. Okay, so you cannot have it perfect. There are different sides of it. And of course, one candidate could be far better in an aspect of governance, and then another could also be. Let the Spirit guide you to appreciate that aspect of governance which we need now.
Okay.
We are at the crossroads. We need a certain style of governance, a certain attributes. You asked me about attributes. I didn't want to go there. Okay. But we need a certain attribute. We need a certain traits. We need a certain governance style that will ensure that we progress from where we are now.
To a much better place.
To a much better place. And it is for us to dig deeper to know that this person, at this time in the life of the country, is better positioned to provide the sort of leadership that we need. That's the whole thing. So it's not about painting somebody as black because so he cannot be president. No, it's far from that. What kind of leadership do we need now?
All right. Okay. Pastor Nyamike, I thank you very much for your time this morning and for joining us. We'll continue to pray. It's 6 months to go to the elections. We will continue to pray that
Francis,
the Lord will guide us.
Talking about, let me quickly chip in that I haven't mentioned the 6 months. The plan is that on 1st of the remaining months, so 1st July, 1st August, 1st September, we'll be having some prayer topics. Okay. So 1st July, we'll be praying for thanksgiving to God for bringing us this far, and then for divine mercy. Yeah. Then the 1st August, we are praying for the Electoral Commission and all those involved in the organization of the elections. On 1st September, we'll pray for the candidates for all the parties, all the positions that have been contested for. Then the 1st October, we'll be praying for the electorates as well. And then November, we'll pray for God's will to prevail. And then 1st December, we'll thank God for a successful election in the anticipation
of what's to come.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Pastor Nyamike, thank you for your time and for joining us.
Always
this
a pleasure.
I wish you the best.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.